I don't think it actually does any simulation.
But I emailed this
When you're traveling, her revolution.
just add when you know when you email you back to the
Tread and then to rotate.
should be pretty
I'm telling it to rotate, it's just rotating the mode. It doesn't know that it's connected.
the weekend that's why I usually
Yeah.
play every weekend in a group.
You doing your garage?
Yeah, I get paid well, you get posting and reading.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard it out. I've been doing it for 14 years. The weekend out there pretty nice. I actually get to see my, I think my wife will get to use Friday, Saturday. About 6 or go there.
Yeah.
Go there and play nice. You get it far down, I get home about 2:30. Gotta be talking about.
Fun.
Something to do on my at 3, I think on
That's good. Energy board. Order a problem.
Was that any old ones there?
right now.
I mean, it never happens.
None of us want to do that.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe you're paying. We don't have a hotel and we're sleeping at the van at the rest stop. Which was awesome.
Yeah, I talked to people who are bored.
Every Saturday.
You have like a list of 200 things you want to do.
License on like 45 TV shows for background. We did. I never watched the Real World Channel. A lot of that. I watched it once just to hear our song on there. That was like, I could never watch the show. It's the worst TV ever. We got license of it. Yeah, we can do this when you record it. Not very good, man. You have to listen really carefully and be like, I think that was our stuff we just played going to the right there. Yeah, we did. The MTV stuff we would get a check for. I have a $3,000 every quarter.
Alright, any questions, comments, concerns, issues?
PDF, do you have a program to create those?
If you're working in Word, it should have an option that says export as a PDF or save as a PDF. And that should come up. Did you already submitted the docx?
No.
Okay, someone already did, and I looked at it and it was okay. It didn't have any figures, I don't think. It was just text, so that was fine. But Word should have an option for creating a PDF. If not, let me know. Okay, yeah, it looks like everybody's been on Moodle now. Everybody's listed there. Does anybody know Dima? I don't know the last name here, but they haven't shown up this week. There's one other person who hasn't shown up. I contacted him and he's switching classes, but I'm not sure about this other person. Just thought I'd check. All right, how many people have come into the lab yet and started playing around with Mindstorms? I saw 2 groups on Wednesday. Oh, good, most people. Okay. Making sense so far? Good stuff. Okay, cool. And has anybody not started on the assignments yet? And okay. Okay. Any concerns about being able to get it done by Monday if you haven't started or if you haven't gotten far?
The only thing would be like the study plan. You said to meet with an advisor. Is that something that we can contact them via online, or?
I think so. I mean, I think mainly you're supposed to talk to Izad. And if that doesn't get scheduled by Monday, I think that's fine. Just it's something that you have to make sure happens soon, because that's not just an exercise to give you a grade. That's actually an important part of the whole 2-year program here is getting that meeting early. So just turn in what your idea is for a plan on the question if you haven't actually had that meeting yet.
Okay.
All right, and if anything comes up, I should be reachable by email over the weekend. So I wanted to just throw this up here in the beginning. This question: what do you read? In an engineering program in particular, it's always fun to sort of take what you're doing in your different classes and tie it back into what's going on elsewhere in the world. So these are just some of the things that I like to glance at to kind of keep up. Do people look at any of these already? Imagine Slashdot, some of you are already looking at. Slashdot is kind of a clearinghouse for all kinds of interesting science, engineering, technology type stories. Engadget is similar, but it's a little more product oriented, so new virtual keyboard laser system coming out, and you can read about it in Engadget, things like that. EE Times is a little more of an industry magazine. It's actually a hard print magazine that's available online. Also, they put the same information in both the hard copy and the online. And that's good for sort of tracking the industry, getting news about what's up and coming, and they have interviews and things like that. Hack-A-Day is a really fun site. Every day they put a different hack up. So if you want to know how to, I don't know, take a plug-in air freshener and use it to do something on your Linux machine or whatever, they just come up with weird things people write in, and it's a way to take everyday products and get them to do different things from what they were intended, which is kind of what hacking is. And that's fun, lots of good projects there. And I put Wall Street Journal up there because for me I actually find that's a really useful sort of pulse point on a lot of technology stories and events and things that are happening in the industry. It's biased like most news sources, but you know what the bias is, it's financial. Okay, it's read by people who are interested in the financial aspects of the industry, and so if you know what that bias is, you can sort of factor it out and get to what you're looking for. But a lot of things that happen in technology are obviously tied in with money and finance, and so that's actually for me, it's been an interesting source to go to read a different side of things that are happening from what you might read in some of these other sources. Yeah. TED, thank you. TED.com. They, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think you've looked at it more, but they basically have video presentations by different people, really interesting topics.
They also have a PDF.
Okay. I mean, the last one I saw on there was a while ago. It was somebody who just studies ants and was looking at how ants do what they do, and like there's no central organization to an ant colony. There's no boss who tells all the other ants, you're a worker, you do this, you defense, all this kind of stuff. They just kind of figure it out ad hoc, and it works. And this person has been studying it, and he gave this really fascinating talk on the subject, and so all kinds of interesting things up there. Any other sources people go to generally for news and information, technology or otherwise?
Wired.
Definitely. Forgot that one. One of the few magazines I actually subscribe to. I don't know how to describe Wired. I mean, it's technology stories, but there's some of them have a little more human interest to them. You hear about the people that are actually doing these things and things that are going on with them. And stuff that's just a little further out there. Time travel, maybe, things like that.
Lifehacker?
Lifehacker. That one I haven't looked at too much, but just lifehacker.com. How would you describe them?
Ever heard Gizmodo?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, it's part of that whole
Okay.
conglomerate.
cool. So just things to, in between all of your other work, it can be good to just kind of keep up with what's going on. I find if I just sort of check in once in a while, if there's something pretty major going on, it'll start percolating through the noise and coming up to the top. So I don't read these things every day and study them with a fine-tooth comb, but you sort of pick up on the general trends over time. Yeah?
I just got a quick question. Is there a way, it's got a class that has nothing to do with this.
Okay. All right. So today I want to talk about patents, trademarks, and other intellectual property. Service marks, copyrights, trade secrets, things like that. And, okay, the disclaimer up front, I'm not a lawyer. I can't give you legal advice, okay? I have experience with a number of these topics. I have experience with patents. I've written my own patents and had 4 patents awarded. So I have experience and I have things that I've read and I have opinions, okay, but it's not legal advice. So if you actually decide to go down the path of patenting something, for example, make sure you talk to someone who knows more than I do. Okay, but I'll give you some basic guidelines and, like I say, some of my own experience and my own understanding of things, and hopefully that's at least a start. So intellectual property is an interesting concept. These are 2 words that don't necessarily go together. Property is usually something physical, okay? It's a bottle, or it's a type of drink, or it's a wristwatch. And when you want to sell somebody a piece of property, it's very easy. You take this, you hand it to the person, they give you some kind of compensation, money, and you're done. They've possessed this property and you possess what they gave you for it, some money or some other compensation. When what you're selling is an idea, that's a harder thing to sort of commoditize. And this idea that ideas themselves are valuable is sort of a new concept. It does go back further, but it's increasingly the case that the things that engineers and other people think up actually have value, even if you don't turn it into an actual physical product. If you figure out how to travel backwards in time, okay, you don't necessarily need to build a time machine. That idea, that knowledge that you have, has value. So how do you extract the value of that information? How do you get compensated for it? And it's a weird model in part because if I have a really good idea and I sell it to you for $100, well, I might turn around and I might sell it to 10 other people for $100. That's great for me, I'm making a lot of money, but the more people I give this idea to, the sort of less value it has, because now you're going to have competitors who know the same thing, okay? That's sort of different from if I'm selling you a bottle of Gatorade. It doesn't matter to you if I sell 1,000 more of these down the street, okay? So this idea that ideas somehow become less valuable the more that they're distributed, that puts a different twist on it. How do you control what someone's going to do with this idea? Or if I have an idea and somebody happens to, look over my shoulder while I'm writing it down, and they see what it is, they can steal that idea without actually taking anything physically. So how do you prevent someone from doing that? Because if someone steals this, it's very easy. They're going to grab it, they're going to run, they're going to have it in their possession. So different sets of ideas when we talk about intellectual property as opposed to sort of physical property. And the way I've thought about this is sort of in terms of 2 basic questions. Okay, so first question, what do you want in life? You as an individual or as a business or some kind of entity, what is it that you're looking for? Okay. And the second question is, what do you do if you have a really great idea, if you know how to turn lead into gold? What do you do with that?
Get as much lead as you can.
Get as much lead as you can. So what are the different things that people or entities want?
Money.
Money, definitely. Comfort. Power. Sorry?
Recognition.
Recognition.
Security.
Security. How low can I write on here and people can still see? Can you read this? Is that about as low as I should go? What else?
Prestige.
Prestige.
Ease of living conditions.
Ease of living conditions. Can we say comfort?
Yeah.
Okay.
Want fun.
Fun.
What is this?
It's not fun. Why are you doing it? I mean, you have to live, but
For all those other reasons.
hmm?
For all the other reasons
Mhm.
up there.
Yeah, that's true. But anything else?
Family.
Family.
Experience.
Experience, good. And there's obviously some overlap between these, but these are some good general categories. So under money, I'm going to differentiate between two different kinds of money. There's sort of like just getting a big wad of money, okay? And then there's income. And those are a little different. That's the difference between winning the lottery and, well, getting a lump sum from the lottery and having a job that's guaranteed for life that's going to pay you a paycheck, or retiring with a retirement plan that's going to pay you a paycheck every month. Okay, a little bit, two things there. And recognition, I'm going to put down two versions of recognition. I'm going to put down, let's say, fame as an immortality. So living forever in the memories of society, okay? And I'm going to put down 15 minutes in the spotlight. And those are both sort of ways to be recognized, but one of them is like, the whole world knows you, you know, you're the Numa Numa guy who started YouTube, or people talk about you for 100 years to come. Okay, two different versions there. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything that I came up with. That's not everything, but it's a lot of it. And so, what do you do if you have a really good idea? What are some of the things you can do if you come up with some great invention or some idea how to do something? Okay, write it up. Someone said patented. I'm going to put that in parentheses because after you patent it, you're going to do other things. And I think we're going to list some of those other things here. Build it.
Practicing.
Right, practicing would be the technical term.
Sell it.
Sell it.
Get investors.
And sell it, I put down sell the idea, but you can also talk about selling the product.
Also license it to another entity.
Okay, so you can license or rent it. Okay, and that's most of what I had. I put another one down here, which was sell yourself. And again, that's not all exhaustive, but it's a pretty good covering. Now the thing is, depending on what you want in life, you might do different things with a really great idea. Okay, so for example, suppose you come up with a way to talk to dogs. Okay, you come up with an idea, you know how to build the universal dog translator. Okay, you can talk to dogs and they can talk back to you. Okay, that's a great invention. If you write it up, okay, presumably to tell people about it, right, you're going to get recognition. You're probably going to get 15 minutes in the spotlight. You may go down in history. You'll definitely get some prestige. You may never get any money for it, because somebody who has more money than you to productize it may just take what you've done and start selling it, and you'll be the inventor of the original idea, but you won't be rich for it. Yeah.
You could have a lot of fun.
You could definitely have a lot of fun. Absolutely. I have a friend whose dog is having puppies tomorrow, so I'd love to know what this dog is thinking. If you build it, you can generate some income from that. Okay, you could start pulling in some money by selling this thing to someone, or you could start using it as a service, okay, and start generating an income stream. You could probably have a lot of power depending on what dogs actually know and what they're planning and things like that.
Build a dog army.
Yeah, you could build little dog minions and things like that. Definitely experience and knowledge, okay, and possibly ease of living. Okay, so you can just sort of think about all the different things. You could sell yourself, okay, if you have a really great idea, sometimes what you do is you use it to market yourself. You go to a prospective employer and you say, hey, I invented the universal dog translator, give me a job, you know. And they may not be in that business, they may hire you because they think, wow, this person's really smart. Okay, so you can sell yourself. You could sell the product, you could start marketing these translation boxes, but then you have to have a manufacturing facility, you're going to be in your garage, putting these things together day and night, you know, or you might just sell the idea. There might be some company out there that just wants to buy the idea from you, buy the rights to manufacture it, and they may or may not want you to be a partner with them. They may give you a lump sum, they may give you a percentage of the royalties, or they may say, hey, come join our company, we want you to consult with us. Or they may say, we'll buy this from you, but you can never tell anybody that you invented it. We don't want any mention of you, so you're not going to have any recognition, you're not going to have any credibility, you're just going to get a lump sum. Okay, so you can think about different ways of pursuing what you're going to do with a good idea in terms of what you want to get out of it. And sort of the old model was you build a widget and you sell it and you get cash or you get pigs or whatever your economic system is based on. And there's a lot more options, particularly with intellectual property. In general, though, if you're working for somebody else, you don't really have to make these decisions because you're usually under a contractual agreement. And that's going to decide what you have to do with ideas you come up with if you do them in the course of your job. So I teach up at Washington State. I had to sign an agreement that if I come up with anything on the job as part of my job there, they basically get access to it. So I try not to think when I'm there. A couple of interesting examples of intellectual property throughout the years. Equation solving. So I'm guessing everybody's seen equations like this before, right? And the way to solve it is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. When we learned that, we didn't even know what it meant. It was like a Harry Potter incantation. It's just something we said, and we get credit for it. So if you have an equation of this form, you can find the solutions to the values of x that make it true. Okay, that's been known for thousands of years. What's not so easy is a cubic equation.
Still possible though.
It is possible today. In the 1500s, it wasn't. Okay, people did not know how to solve this 600 years ago, 500 years ago. But people knew certain subsets of this equation to solve. For example, so this one was an unknown. But around 1515, people discovered how to solve this type of equation. Okay, or if there were certain relationships between, say, B and C, people might know how to solve those. Or if you were really skilled at this, you could look at an equation sometimes and just know what the solution was. Kind of a trial and error in your head. Now in the 1500s, while people were sitting around waiting for the internet to be invented, they used to have contests with people solving equations. Okay, this was like entertainment, this was sport. And there were local champions who were really good at solving equations, and they would meet, they'd swap 30 equations with one another and see who could solve the most of the other person's equations in a certain amount of time. It's like a weird reality show. If a mathematician came up with a new way to solve certain types of cubic equations, they didn't publish it. Okay, they didn't tell people about it. They didn't talk about it. They probably didn't even tell people that they had a method. Why? Because they wanted to hustle people. They could take new information that they had developed, this new intellectual property, and take it to one of these equations and make a lot of money by solving equations faster than the other people. And so there was a famous case where somebody, shortly before one of these equations, figured out a way to solve this equation, where b was 0, and also figured out how to solve these equations. His opponent had just figured out how to do this one. So they met, they were going to exchange 30 questions, they were going to spend 50 days solving each other's equations. Whoever solved the most would be the winner. The person who had done this work and came up with these two formulas, he solved all of his opponent's equations in 2 hours. Okay? The other person at the end of the time limit hadn't solved any. Okay, so intellectual property, it's not always something that you want to sell. Okay, there's indirect ways that you can extract value from it.
Like hustling people.
You would? Yeah, like hustling people. So these people, Merkle, Hellman, and Diffie, this is from the 70s, they were doing work in early cryptography systems. And they met kind of randomly. These two met at Stanford. Rolf Merkle was at Berkeley, and he was talking to somebody about his ideas, and his person he was talking to was like, "There's these people over at Stanford you should meet. They sound like you." And so they met, and it turns out they were speaking the same language. They were all working on a particular type of cryptographic system. Now, most crypto systems up to that time, if you had some terribly important secret message, okay, and you wanted to send this to somebody or put it somewhere without anybody else knowing what the secret message was, there were various ways you could encode it. For example, you might change each of these into a number based on where it is in the alphabet. And then you might say add 1, add 2, add 1, add 2, add 1. And now your message would be 9, 7, 13, 14, 16. And you send that to somebody and they have no idea what it is unless they know the secret password, which is 1, 2. Okay? The problem with most of these systems is in order to encrypt the message, you need to know what the password is.